Good evening, East Goshen. Hope you got a great Monday. It's December 21st. It's the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Coincidentally, it's also my son Everett's first birthday. And so the kids are asleep. I'm able to talk to you about Luke chapter 21. We're going to focus on verses 8 and 9. And just a reminder, Jesus has come into Jerusalem riding on a donkey, and the people proclaim him as the Messiah. They sing, "Hosanna in the highest." So the people have greeted Jesus into Jerusalem, but he knows he's going to die. And he goes to the Temple Mount, and he's decided to teach in the Temple Mount. Out in the courts, he's teaching the people, which would have been common for that day. The people would have stood around in the temple courts and taught. The teachers of the law would have been there, the scribes, the Pharisees, all sorts of different scholars would have come out to teach people the scriptures. But Jesus is looking around, and the disciples are remarking at the beauty of the temple. Jesus says, don't get used to it. Because he knows in a matter of 30 to 40 years from that moment, the Romans would come in and destroy that temple. That was the second temple in Jerusalem. And the Romans, believing that the Israelites were planning an uprising, decided to come in and destroy the temple. And Jesus knows that. He tells them that every stone will be torn down in that building. But Jesus tells his disciples when they ask him, "How will we know that the time is coming when you'll return, when the Son of Man comes in glory?" Jesus tells them, "Watch out that you are not deceived. For many will come in my name claiming I am he, and the time is near. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away." Folks, I don't know about you, but it seems like a lot of people in my sphere of the world are focused on predicting the end, listening to all of these people who claim that the end is near. Look, it's 2,000 years later. The end hasn't come yet. And Jesus says, you're going to hear about all these terrible things that are going to come to pass, but the end won't come then. See, what Jesus is telling the disciples to do is to stand firm in their faith, to trust in his words, that he will return to restore all things and make everything new. He says, don't be frightened. You're going to hear of wars and uprisings. The temple itself is going to be destroyed. Eventually, Rome falls. I mean, think about the church throughout history, all of the world events that it has withstood. Jesus is looking forward and saying, don't lose focus. The temple might be destroyed. Jerusalem might fall. Israel might not be a sovereign nation anymore. Rome collapses. You'll hear of wars and famines and all of these different diseases and illnesses. And yet the end won't come yet. The end isn't there. You will know when it's coming, but until then, you have to choose to stand firm in what you know to be true. Jesus says in this chapter that heaven and earth will pass away, but his word will not pass away. And so in this Advent season, we remember that Jesus has come and look forward to his return. And the question is, will we choose here and now to stand firm in the face of unforeseen circumstances, of tragedy and loss, and choose to stand firm and proclaim the good news of the gospel to everyone who will hear, despite what personal cost it might have in our lives? But Jesus is telling the disciples, don't lose sight of the mission of the kingdom. Don't get distracted by all of these predictions that this is the end. You'll know it's the end, but until then, don't be frightened. I am coming back to make all things new. And until I do, I'm going to send you about the work of the kingdom. So as we reflect this evening on Luke 21, ask yourself, have I lost sight of what's important? Am I focused on the kingdom first and foremost? And even when the world seems to be falling apart, will I choose to stand firm and trust that Jesus will come back, just not yet? And until then, will you proclaim the gospel of peace to everyone who will listen? So, thanks for joining me, Luke chapter 21. We will focus on Luke 22 tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your night, or if you're watching this tomorrow, which you most likely will be because it's pretty late, please join us for Luke 22. We'll talk to you then. See you next time.